Okay, those examples are interesting, but it's probably a little bit complicated for a beginner. Back to the first C program we have, the Hello World. Maybe it's better for beginner. This is it, just several lines of, and from here, I'm going to explain the components of C program with this example, Hello World, and I slightly modified that example by including more things here. So for each of them, I gave the name, but if you cannot understand this, just remember the name. I will explain more later. So the first line, the include, is a preprocessor. It's actually it's calling the program. I'm going to use some of the functions defined in other files, and this is the file I'm going to use. So I have to include it first, and the function here, the main, is the main function, um, which is a must for a C program. So this is a main, start with this, end with this, remember that. And also I have include one line of comment. Comment is just for reference. It will be ignored by the compiler. This is just for you. Maybe after years this code has been written, you forget about what does it mean, so you can read these comments to recall that. Or the other programmers are reading your code, they could understand what do you think when you're doing this. So that's the comments which will be ignored by the compiler. And there, the int year is a variable. Actually, it's for integers. I will explain later. These are just variable, could be used for calculation. I will explain that through example. And the printf is indeed a function call. The function being called is printf. It's actually the function which declared in this stdio.h, so we have to include that stdio.h before we can use this printf. And the return is a very special function which tells your program that's the end. That's the end of this program. And this may sound not that intuitive for you. Let me explain it with the punch card point of view, because we have already have the punch card idea in the lecture 1. So every line here is like a column in the punch cards, which give an instruction to the user. So it looks like this. Every line is just like a column, and when feeding this punch card line by line to the reader, here the reader is a compiler, then the command will be executed, and a function is just like a box of punch cards there. So the punch card already has been punched previously by other programmers. You can reuse that. So function call is call a function and also you could think of it as an existing box of cards there. So let me do this step by step to help you to understand what those lines are. The first one is a preprocessor. Preprocessor start with include. So it's like the compiler will tell the operator that I know there is a box of count cards in stock marked as stdio.h. So please get that ready. I will use it soon. So this is just let the operator know, and the operator can get that std car std.h. Then we go to the next line. It's a function declaration. This is a standard declaration for a function actually, but remember the main function is very special. The main function tells the operator this instruction declared in main function has to be executed immediately once you say it. So if it's not a main function, the operator will prepare those line, prepare a new box, and for putting those cards inside there, and name that with that function for later use. So if it's very important to see if it's a main function. Main function is the entrance of that program, and your program start executing from there. So then we go to command line. The command line, as I told, the comments are just going to be ignored by the compiler. So it means nothing to them. So go forward, and then we reach the variable. Variable here is like something for calculation. You can think of it as a repunchable cars. The idea of the repunchable car is like we are not actually punching the holes in that car, because once you punch the holes you cannot change. We can mark those holes with the pencil, so if later we want change the value of that car, we can use the pencil to do it easily. So that's the idea of repunchable car. The variable is the value of the variable are stored in this punch card. In this case, we will initialize this punch card with 2021 there, with the pencil marked on it for later use. Okay, then we go to the function called printf. This is like the compiler is telling the operator that, hey, right now I'm going to use the printf. It should be declared somewhere in the other box of cards. In that case, that's stdio.h. So the operator will pick up from that box and get you the printf, and you can use that function to do some stuff. I will explain this function later. Then we reach the return. Return is a very special function telling the computer that this is the end of my program. You can terminate everything.